welcome to Podnuts Daily for September 12, 2008, episode number 76. Yesterday I talked about I had an account on Windows XP, and when I booted into safe mode, I couldn't see that user's account in safe mode. I could only see it in normal mode. Well, I wasn't reading it right, and I guess this is why that was happening. It was a limited account, and you can't see limited accounts in safe mode. That's what it was. I thought it was a spyware stopping us from trying to get into that account. But if you have a limited account, you can only get to it in normal mode. It appears, and it won't appear in the safe mode menu. Makes sense. I want to bring up another thing too. I had a customer has a laptop, right? He wanted me to fix all kinds of stuff on it, like the cord was damaged, the hard drive was bad, and it also had two of the plates missing off the bottom of the laptop. The plates that cover like the memory slot and a plate that covers wireless card slot. They probably couldn't cost more than $1, not even that, a couple cents each to make. But this customer said, I want those plates because I want the laptop to be perfect. He's like, that's just the way I am. And so I went on eBay and I found those two plates. They were $1 each with $10 shipping on each one. But I bought them because the customer wanted them and the customer's willing to pay for them. It just goes to show me that you can buy laptops and just take them completely apart and sell the tiniest pieces of them all the way down to these plates. And that seller just made like $20 basically off of me because not 20 fully. I mean, like the shipping maybe costs him $1. So yeah, so he made $20 off of me on those two plates. Anyway, it gave me like the idea of like if I had some time, I could sit down, open an eBay store like Steve D'Amico said in the episode of Podnuts, and just part out laptop parts, break them down like to the bare minimum, and sell them all off. I bought them. Every time I go and buy a part like that, I say to myself, man, I could sell these parts. If I could get that much money for myself, then that'd be a nice little extra income. A customer had a Dell Inspiron 6000, which is a model of Dell that I really like. That model, that white laptop that Dell came out with. It was like had some metal on it and felt solid, and they never overheated. Good. It was a good production run, those 6000s. Anyway, they've moved on to different models now. I still like Dell laptops, actually. In fact, not to get off the subject, let me just hit this right now. Was it Bob? Bob Keenan had sent me, he's a Podnuts listener. I talked about those netbooks yesterday, like Acer's coming out with the Asus EPC, basically. They're called netbooks, those small little laptops. And he sent me a review for the one Dell has out. It's called the Mini 9 or something like that. The thing looks really sweet. Awesome. It's got like a 9-inch screen. It's tiny. It's like only like $400. It's got a webcam. It's perfect for like something you take with you on the fly and do some internet browsing when you get a chance. I'm going to probably get that one. I'd like to see one of them in person. All right, back on the subject. I had a Dell Inspiron 6000, bad motherboard. It looked like something spilled on it. I confronted him on it. I said, look, it really looks like something was spilled on this. And he said, there's no way anything was ever spilled on it. Well, I'm like, nobody ever used this besides you? And he's like, no. And I'm like, all right, I had to take his word for it. It might have been something that happened at the factory, but there was something definitely slimy and looked like it spilled on the right side of the motherboard. And then after I cleaned it off, the motherboard worked for a couple seconds and it still died. So it might have been because of that or it might have not been. But the fact was it was a bad motherboard. He didn't want to spend the money for a motherboard. So, again, I might do a trade-in deal with him where I don't charge him the diagnostic fee, and in exchange, he's going to go out and buy another laptop. I'm going to put Windows XP on it for him because he doesn't want to use Vista, and I'm going to transfer all the data from his old laptop to the new laptop, and I'm going to take his Inspiron 6000 with the bad motherboard in for myself as a trade-in. Now, I could either part it out like I was talking about earlier or replace the motherboard myself and resell it. So I like doing the trade-ins. I always find value from them. Okay, had a computer today. iTunes would not load on this computer no matter what this guy did. He called me. I remoted in to do the job. I spent a few hours on it. I still haven't figured it out. When you try to run iTunes, it says something like, sorry, iTunes cannot run because of an error, something like that. It installs fine. The installation's complete. But when you actually try to run it, it says iTunes cannot run because of a problem. And iTunes has encountered a problem and cannot finish or something like that. there's lots of solutions for this online. I've tried a couple of them so far. I'm just going down the line. One of them is you uninstall iTunes, you uninstall QuickTime, and then you install QuickTime as a standalone, and then you install iTunes, and that might work. So I'm going to try that after the show. I'll let you know how that goes on that one. On the subject of iTunes, we had a computer today. Customer brought in. It had, what was wrong with this computer? Computer had viruses, malware. It was running slow. And I set a policy today at the shop. Any computer that comes in with 256 mega RAM, we definitely suggest an up. I should have done this before, and I usually do, but today I made it like kind of a firm policy. Any computer that comes in running XP, 256 mega RAM, we recommend an upgrade, and we charge for extra memory. 256 is too much the bare minimum, and with all these Norton security suites and McAfee security suites out there, they eat up 256 all on their own, practically. So there's no extra memory left for the operating system to run. So we asked him if he would upgrade, and he would do that, so that's fine. He also thought he had a bad CD drive because it wouldn't write CDs anymore. And I've experienced a problem with this before. We replaced the CD drive, and it has the same problem. It was a CD DVD. He could watch DVDs, he could play CDs, but he couldn't write CDs. And what we did was he uninstalled iTunes. Everything worked fine after that. We actually deleted the upper filters and lower filters from the registry. Just do a Google search for upper and lower filters, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They cause a lot of CD writing problems. We reinstalled iTunes version 8. Everything was fine after that. But that was after we, scratched our heads for a while, replaced the CD drive, put his old CD drive back in, used about 10 CDs to test this thing, and finally that was the problem. So maybe that might be a solution for one of you guys. If you guys I've got criticized a little bit for this. I've been talking about the Podnuts Lounge, and if you guys want to just go there and talk tech, it's at podnuts.com/lounge. It's just a chat room. It's open all the time, and if you guys want to go and talk, maybe I can't promise I'm going to be in there all the time, but I think Mark said, Steve, you're not even in there at all. And what I have been doing is going in and checking to see if anybody's there every once in a while, and there hasn't been anybody there, so I just leave. But I'm probably going to stay there now and see maybe that might attract some people if somebody sees me in there or see somebody in there at least. But it's still out there, and I want to know what you guys think about the chat software I'm using. It's called Add-on Chat. It uses Java, so if you don't have Java loaded, you might have to install that. I want to know what you think about that. And if you just want to talk computer repair, see who's in the Podnuts Lounge. I'm just going to leave it open and leave it posted. It's just a chat room, kind of like the chat room you guys are in now on Ustream. But it might be a place where if I'm not live or you're not on Ustream, go there and see who's there and talk tech. It's at podnuts.com/lounge. Last announcement I want to make is we're going to do the second episode of Philly Tech Guys tomorrow at Mike Smith's house in Pennsylvania.